What's up, everybody? Thank you all for tuning in. You're now tuned in my podcast. I'm SF Johnny, Seriously Focused Johnny. You were tuned into Difficult People Chronicles. Today's episode is called The Message. Do you have good boundaries? In the book of Nehemiah, Nehemiah was a cupbearer to the Persian king. The walls of Jerusalem were broken down, and he asked the king for permission to return and rebuild it. With the king's permission, he rebuilt the defensive wall around Jerusalem. The reason he asked to rebuild the wall was because some Jews who visited Jerusalem returned to Persia and reported. It states in Nehemiah chapter 1, verse 3, they said to me, those who survived the exile and are back in the province are in great trouble and disgrace. The wall of Jerusalem is broken down and its gates have been burned with fire. The wall was completed, and this demonstrated remarkable faith, unity, teamwork, and proper leadership under the direction of God. And this was done despite the fact they were facing torment, mockery, and threats from the enemy. So, what came to me was that, and I include myself, but this is for someone out there, but I apply it to myself as well, that we need to rebuild our walls. We need to establish proper boundaries. And I feel it's more so where you think people changed, but you realize they haven't. Because you have people in this season where they're showing up and they making it seem like they've changed. And they haven't. Rebuild your walls. Build your boundaries like the walls of Jerusalem. Build your boundaries like the walls of Jerusalem. Because here's some things. Remember, the enemy will try to get you to sin. The enemy will show up with a smile on their face and some kind of plan to put you in an uncompromising position where you sin. That's why it's important to be sober. The enemy will try to play nice. You know, the enemy comes with a lot of faces. It could come with the face of sympathy and pretend like they happy for you. Whatever it takes to get in your corner. You need to establish proper boundaries for protection. Because while your walls, and your walls, I'm calling your walls your boundaries, while your walls are up, you are in proper position, prepared and ready in case the enemy tries to strike. You could stand on God's word and protect your heart. You are able to hear from God, become spiritually strong, and allow his word to feed your spirit. In Nehemiah, one of the things I want y'all to understand is that without the wall being rebuilt, the temple could have been destroyed. And the same with ourselves is that without our boundaries in place, our body, our spirit is destroyed. Our body is the temple. Our strength and our spirit allows us to connect with God. And without that, there's no peace, no spiritual protection, no security, no presence of God, no spiritual strength. And here's some of the things that Nehemiah did. He got spiritually prepared. He fasted, he prayed, and got direction from God. I'm going to tell you, something that happened that was very interesting where you have some very interesting people that they know who you are but choose to play games. And when they play this game, whatever game it is, but I'm going to give you a specific game. But when they play this game over and over again, you have a tendency to get angry over and over again, or hurt for some people over and over again. Game could be anything: cheating, lying, stealing. One of the games I observed that didn't affect me was a person who, when they're in front of me, they have so much to say, like we're cool. And then as soon as somebody comes around, they act like they can't stand me. And they come up with these excuses for their behavior when I address them. So what I did was, you know, I just walked off. When they came up to me, I walked off. I said, I'm not doing that. This could even go down with family. You sometimes think people change and they haven't. Sometimes you just gotta walk off. It's the best. Because you already know who they are. Sometimes you have people that come in front of you wanting your advice on the low. Like they don't want nobody to know that they talking to you. And it's not a situation where whatever they talking to you about is confidential. They being disrespectful. They coming up to you for advice. But then as soon as people come around, they act like they can't stand you. It's like pick your lane. It's either you like me or you don't. But don't waste my time. So this time around, I just walked off. And out of their peripheral, they had to look like they were looking sick. Why? Because their game no longer works. I'm not getting angry. I'm not going to sit up there and explain to them, because you have some people that want you to say, well, if you say this to this person, one more like say, why do you do that? I'm not doing that. I'm not. The game is old. And the only person playing the game is them. So I just walked off. As soon as they stepped up in my face, I held up my cell phone like I was about to make a call and I walked right off. Even when they said up, like they was trying to get my attention, I kept going. We're not doing that. If I spoke to you twice about your behavior, something is wrong with you. We're not doing that. And you have people that's out there that's like that. These are people that be a part of cliques. They be a part of a clique. According to them, they keep it real, but they really don't. Because their real is really not being right. So they roll with the clique, do things that be sinning all afternoon, doing things, hurting other people, and all this part of a clique. And then when they by themselves, they want to act normal, like how God created them. Instead of working on themselves and dealing with whatever issues they got going on. You got a lot of people in this world that don't want to work on their issues, but they want to like cause havoc and make other people angry. So when I did what I did, that person was stuck in their feelings. And then after that, it was a situation where they're now more hesitant to talk to me. People could only take certain things from certain people but for so long. And if you address it to them and they don't get it, sometimes you got to put your words to action. Yeah. And you got to realize that you can't help everybody. I had to realize that I can't help everybody. And I had to realize that that was my lesson. Like, I kept going through it over and over again because that person didn't want to be helped. They was just trying to waste my time and be disrespectful while they at it. So here's something else. My friend said, well, when you put the phone to your ear, what if your phone would have started to ring? You see people do things like that. Like they walk off, pretend they making a call and their phone ring. I said I would have just kept walking. Like I would have probably said something like, "You called just in time." Yeah, that's not gonna change how I feel, because I feel like if I address you twice about your behavior, what else is there? I'm not going to keep getting mad at the same situation going on over and over again. And a lot of times we have to learn from the situations that we're in. Because remember, the enemy will try to tempt you in the area that you have worked on, you have healed from. The old me would have went off. But I was like, no, I'm okay with walking away from that situation, that person. I'm okay with that. So that's something that we need to work on going into 2026. Having good boundaries. It allows the enemies not to get to our heart. We could stand on God's word. When situations, emergencies arise, we fast and pray, not get depressed, not be afraid to step forward, try not to get stressed out so God can give us direction. Yeah, and that's it. So that's it for today. Have a blessed week. Love me more and I love you more. Later.